Again.
I have 100% faith in you, to be honest with you. You have done harder things. I am 100% doing.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Jen Schlaak with Three Keys Real Estate Group and Keller Williams Preferred. Today, I'm here with Julie Zaruba Fountain. She is a well-being strategist, and she's a practitioner of the Mountain 10 process. So in real estate, I'm oftentimes working with clients that are going through major transitions. They are retiring, they're downsizing, they're having babies. So my job is to kind of help them through the logistical aspects of that. Getting their home ready for sale, prepping them with their financing, deciding on the new property, negotiating those kinds of things. But you really work with the inner workings of people making those big life transitional decisions. So tell me, for people that have never heard of the Mountain 10 process, tell me a little bit about the Mountain 10 process and what drew you to doing that type of work.
Sure. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Jen, for having me. And it's great to be here talking to you about Mountain 10. And as Jen mentioned, I'm a Mountain 10 certified trainer. And what that means is when you meet with me, it's typically I meet with people that are going through major life transitions or have a big decision to make. And that's actually what brought me to learn about the Mountain 10 process. Is I was going through a major life transition and had to decide if I wanted to start a business or keep going in my current routes that I was headed on or something else. And so I attended a Mountain 10 workshop and I loved it. And it was 2 hours long and I wasn't quite sure what to expect. There was some coloring involved and some questions, and I didn't quite know what was happening when I first got into it, but I trusted the facilitator. And so I went, and it really was inspiring for me to go through that process and brought a ton of clarity in just a couple of hours. Clarity that I had been wrestling with and trying to get on my own and just wasn't able to do all that on my own, even though I have a background in reflective practice. And so I went to the facilitator and said, this was an amazing experience. I have a background in well-being. I have an MBA in change and leadership, and I want to bring this to more people. And that's what, through the Mountain 10 experience, I decided to start my business, Empower Possible. And it really brought that clarity to that decision. And I also decided to keep working while maintaining my business. And that was also what I was struggling with. And the clarity that I got was, I don't have to choose. There is room for both in my life at that time. And so I met with the facilitator and was asking him a lot of questions. You know me, you know how many questions I like to ask. We've worked together before. And so I was asking him a lot of questions. And through our conversation, he just said, you know what, why don't you become certified? You have a passion about this. It aligns with your values. It aligns with your future business that's evolving and creating alignment and well-being and empowerment and helping people through transition and change. And so I went through the certification process and became a mountain guide. And the bigger picture, the reason why I was aligned with my business model is all about change. And so the Mountain 10 takes you through the human change process. So you have a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper is a labyrinth. And a labyrinth, it looks like a maze, but it's not a maze because you can't get lost. And you color along the labyrinth. And as you're coloring, depending on what section of the paper you're in, you're reflecting on certain questions. So first, you go into the letting go phase of the human change process. And you think about, what are the things that are holding me back? What are my underlying beliefs? So related to home buying, some of us tell ourselves stories about the certain home we need to be in, or the certain neighborhood that we've always wanted to live in, or suddenly you're going to become Martha Stewart and entertaining every weekend when you don't like to cook or host, but you think you're going to attain magically that lifestyle because of the house that you buy. And really, you're just going to be miserable because you're going to have this beautiful kitchen that you never set a foot in.
Yeah. So, or you need those extra bedrooms because your kids are going to suddenly come and stay overnight on the weekends.
Absolutely. And
really, it's
that. Yeah. Invest that someplace else. Maybe you like to garden. And so maybe you should choose a property that has a garden and not an urban home. So there's those certain things that you need to let go of that maybe for me, it was those pressures of like, well, entrepreneurship is scary. You're not a risk taker. What happens if it doesn't work out? And so those were external voices, and I needed to get in tune with my own internal values and wisdom, which is what the Mountain 10 process does. So letting go, raising awareness of what it is you truly want, then visualizing. So visualizing what it is that you want. So is it that kitchen, that gourmet kitchen? Is it the multiple bedrooms? And then the realization process, which as a goal-oriented person is my favorite part, because you get to actually work through what it is that's going to take you to that next level and then talk with others and through that process with others. So it really is about aligning your own inner wisdom with the expertise of others and then making a decision so that you can live the life that you truly want.
Okay. So say I bring you a client that is, they're retiring, they're trying to decide like, where do I want to be? What fits my lifestyle? What is going to support my values? What will that process look like for them?
And that's it. We didn't even talk about this ahead of time. That is exactly my example of what I just did with a couple just a few months ago, actually. So there was this couple. I used to live in Duluth, and they were in Duluth, and they knew that I did this work. And one of them was retiring, and they were deciding what to do with this next chapter of their life. They were really struggling with what to do. And the other one had a job, but could move wherever they wanted for their job. And they have been very intentional in every phase of their life about what to do. And so they came to me and said, tell me more about this Mountain 10, the Mountain 10 process and what you're doing. And I explained it to them, and they thought this was the perfect process for them because as a couple, they wanted to get not only in sync with themselves, but in sync with each other and have that conversation. So the first part of the process, we went through the Mountain 10, we went through the labyrinth and the coloring, and then they got very clear on themselves as an individual. And then we got together, the three of us, and started asking questions about what was that experience like for you? What is beneath what do you truly want in this next chapter of your life? So that was the grounding question that I had in the beginning for them. And
so what does that look like? Like, what do you see in your life? Like, what's important to you? I like to bike, or is that kind of the process you go through?
Yeah, exactly. So it was thinking about what do they currently like about their current living situation, and what do they want to change? What do they feel like is missing? So the questions of what do you value? So a phrasing would be, tell me 5 things that you like to do in your free time. Tell me 5 things or 5 people you like to be around. If you could choose anybody in your life to be around, tell me those things. And then tell me your 5 favorite places. So those types of questions really get you to think about, okay, well, if my 5 favorite places, my 5 favorite people, and the 5 favorite things to do are all things that I'm not doing because where I am or where I'm living or what my home situation is like, I'm not able to do, then there's some discrepancy there. So I help people work through that ambivalence, it's called, that little tug of war that you have when maybe you want to be doing something, but there's things holding you back, and we break through that ambivalence in order to come to a realization and visualization of what your life could look like if you incorporated those things more regularly into your life. And so they decided, right? I fell in love with it because I see this and I see it's happening and in just a matter of hours. And so we sat for a little over 2 hours and worked through this process. And in the end, they decided to move closer to family. So they decided to leave. And one thing I will say, sometimes when you realize the decision and where you truly need to be, it doesn't mean it's easy peasy to get there. Just like moving. Just like moving. You got to pack the boxes. You got to order the truck or recruit friends and family. And so there are steps to take. But once you become in alignment, that work becomes worth it because in the end, you're going to be really confident in that decision and it's going to be in line with your values. And it doesn't mean it's easy, but there's a sense of accomplishment and joy that comes through the process.
Right. And your direction is clear. You know where you want to be and why you want to be there. So, I can see how that can be really powerful for people. That's fantastic. Well, how would people get in touch with you if they're interested in going through this process with you?
That's great. And thank you again for having me. It's been great being here. And if people want to get in touch with me, they can go to my website, empowerpossible.com. I'm also one of those rare people. I like hearing people's questions and I love getting email. So if you want to try to answer that question, what is truly meaningful in your life and what truly are you looking for in this next chapter of your life, then you can email me at info@empowerpossible.com.
Well, thank you so much, Julie, for coming. And I just love collaborating with you and like seeing you flourish and just get down to the nitty gritty and really make an impact for people when they're making these big decisions.
Likewise. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you so much.